is the wonderful Kate Meyrick. And Kate is from Urbis and will be talking to us about regenerating waterfront cities. So welcome to the stage, Kate.
Thank you. Good afternoon. And in closing out what's obviously been an amazing and energetic session, I thought we might have a bit of a change of pace. It's not really a pitch, it's more of a rally cry, I guess, making the case for the importance of water in driving value for a city, not just cost. Since the dawn of time, all the greatest cities have actually been founded on water. This one happens to be London, and it was the beginning of my own waterfront journey. They are absolutely fundamental to the continuing growth and development of cities as we know them. They sustain our life there, they sustain our culture and our way of life. Particularly, they enable people and goods to reach new markets, and romantically, every voyage of discovery has always started from a waterfront city. The water itself defines our character, our image, our identity, and our appeal. Writing over 200 years ago in The Wealth of Nations, economist Adam Smith talked about the absolute imperative of curating our waterfronts. I'm not sure that he was thinking much beyond the idea of shipbuilding or industry or exploration or maybe defence. And he'd probably find it difficult to imagine that in this new industrial era, the waterfront is once again absolutely critical to our ability to support next generation economies and to attract the kind of talent that allows Industry 4.0 to flourish in our cities. 40 years ago, when we first started to think about the revitalisation of waterfronts, and this happens to be an early example, the Inner Harbour in Baltimore, we had a lot to learn. And looking back over those 40 years, you can almost create a sort of Maslow's hierarchy of lessons that could be applied to our own waterfront revitalisation journeys. Let's start with restoring. Now, I could have picked Paris, I could have picked Barcelona, the poster child of water restoration, but instead I chose to pick Berlin, which was the next waterfront city that I really had any meaningful engagement with in my working life. And this is an example of how we've been able to restore the quality of the water and the riparian conditions such that people are actually able to engage with it. And this still remains the fundamental of all of our waterfront aspirations. As we move forward, let's think about how we reclaim the edge of that watercourse such that it gives both a functional and a recreational purpose. This is an example I've only recently come in contact with, and it's Hunters Point South in New York, well, Long Island, really. And it's a great example, sorry, I tricked you there. It's a great example of how we can both maintain a water-based functionality in here. It's actually the storm surge capability for this part of the city with an awesome recreational asset that introduces a new element to the biophilia and therefore the well-being of the people who live in this part of the city. And around it, it's curated huge value for the new mixed-use, mixed-tenure neighbourhood that's arisen in this part of Long Island. You can flick now. Still staying in New York, we could look at Brooklyn Naval Yards, and this is an example of how as we move up that hierarchy, that Maslowian approach to waterfront regeneration, it's important to us to think about the nature of our ambition, because not all waterfront redevelopment contexts are the same. In this case, we took what had been a fortification and a manufacturing area, and we've turned it into the new hub for tech, advanced manufacturing, and even urban agriculture. I'd like to switch again now to another North American city, this time to Chicago. And this lesson is all about the importance of reconnecting the water to the people and repositioning the water instead of an edge condition as a unifying condition. So here they took a practically toxic watercourse and instead they have purified, cleaned the water, made it suitable for primary contact, and re-engage the citizens and visitors of Chicago with that water and the story of its importance to the city, connecting and weaving in the cultural, the recreational, and the commercial uses that now sit along it. If we move to South Korea, this is Incheon, and I'm so sorry for those of you who are from South Korea, I can't actually pronounce the name of the river. Its vowels and consonants come to in a way I'm not familiar with. But again, this is important to us in understanding that the story of the water, to become relevant to people, we have to engage people with that watercourse and with that story. So the actual ability to touch, to sit alongside, to enjoy it in its passive and its active